So today I'm going to be making a children's hospital on The Sims 4. I'm really excited because, as I mentioned in my last video, I'm actually a pre-medical student, so I'm in the process now of taking the medical college admissions test, and so this build is near and dear to my heart. I actually volunteer at a children's hospital, so I kind of based it loosely on the hospital that I volunteer at. I just think it's a beautiful piece of architecture, and it's super kid friendly. There's a lot of bright colors and cute decorations, and I thought with the Sims 4 ability to sort of make objects really big with the brackets on the keyboard, I could do a lot with the toys, like making them into like statues and things. So I just thought this was a perfect opportunity, and a great download if you are obsessed with the Get to Work expansion pack that, like I am. I imagine that my Sims are sort of like pediatric surgeons or something, so just something different, and I haven't really seen it been done before, so I'm really excited to show this to you. So right now I'm just working on the windows because I'm not sure about other places in the world, but at least in the United States, hospitals tend to have a lot of glass hallways, but I imagine that it's like that in other places too, because light is so important. Sunlight, vitamin D for healing, and just to keep positivity up, because your morale really affects the healing process. So I struggled a little bit with the roofing. I wanted it to be very geometric and not just look like a giant box. So I was trying to sort of like pull out the sides and you know, have some variation of shapes. Yeah, so it took me a little bit. I actually edited out a lot of the process because in the beginning I had this idea that I was going to make separate little clinics, sort of, so there would be like 4 mini buildings on the lot, and that Sims could go to whatever building they needed for whatever treatment that they needed, I guess, but that didn't work out because I felt like the lot wasn't quite big enough for that, so I decided to go with the traditional hospital build, and that's kind of when I had the idea, like, why did I make a children's hospital? So, yeah, I'm sorry if this part's a little bit boring or confusing. I feel like I struggle a lot with the some of the automatic features in The Sims 4 for building. I get why they did it. I get that they wanted to make it more user-friendly, so it tries to guess what you're trying to build, but it's a little bit frustrating when you're trying to do something like really unique and creative, and sometimes the auto build just is an annoying feature more than it is helpful. So I don't know if you can tell because they sped this up a lot, but there are a lot of times that I built something and it came out a weird shape and I'd have to delete it. So yeah, I struggled a little bit, but it does eventually look like a hospital. And here we are making the front doors. I decided to make them colorful, again based on the hospital that I go to, well, I volunteer at. So the hospital I volunteer at actually has these giant like sculptures of like blocks and stuffed animals and toys, and it's just super kid friendly, and obviously, you know, no kid should have to spend their life in a hospital, so they try to make it as cheery as possible, and they do a really great job. So I wanted to kind of imitate that sort of style, and here I'm making a helicopter pad because a lot of people are medevaced. And you can see in the corner I made a little ER sign, but it was hard to make an R with the lights because it has that diagonal piece of the R, so I ended up changing that. And then I put a fountain up front. I wanted some more colors, some visual interest, bright colors everywhere in this build. Again, working on the emergency room entrance, and yeah, this build will get a lot more interesting, I promise, when I start to get into the interior, because that's when I really put a lot of bright colors, you know, just super fun. And I think that you'll have fun if you download this into your game, because it will be up on the gallery. My name on the gallery is the same as my YouTube name. It's Susie Builds, and I think you'll have a lot of fun with this, especially if you have had the Get to Work expansion for a while. This will, you know, give you something a little bit different. And obviously, adult Sims can come to this lot. You know, it's not like only kid Sims can visit the children's hospital, but I just designed it as a children's hospital, but obviously it will still work for Sims of any age. But actually, what's funny, well, not really funny, but I feel like there are a lot of children when you play in the Get to Work expansion that come in the hospital, so I think it'll actually work. It might be a little bit weird when you have like an elder Sim in like a twin bed in like with toys all in the room, but that's the price you pay, I guess, for having a children's hospital. But yeah, so right now I'm working on the main lobby. I got really creative. I decided to make that side that with the big boat is supposed to be like a play area, but I ended up changing that to the actual play, I don't know what you want to call it, but that pirate ship that kids can play on. This is super dumb, but I actually thought I didn't have that. I've seen people use it on other builds, but that's not something I would put in a house, so I feel like I never noticed that I had it in my game. I assumed it came with the kids stuff pack, and I didn't have it until I saw it during this build, and I was like, oh my god, I'll just do that, because then the kids can actually play on it. But I actually don't have the kids stuff pack, which sucks, because that would have been awesome for this build, so I challenge anyone, if you have that and you want to download this and like put some of the stuff from that expansion or stuff pack, I think that would be great. But I'm having a lot of issues with my Origin account lately. I don't know if you guys have had this issue. I googled it and it seems like a lot of people do, where it says that my card is being rejected, like my debit card, and it's weird because I know that there's money in there, and even if I put my credit cards in, it still says, like, no matter what card I use, it just doesn't matter what information I put in, it says that either the funds are insufficient or that my bank is denying it. And I don't know, it seems like people have been having this problem since like 2014. Like, I googled it and there were so many forums of people being like, Origin, can you get your act together because I can't update my games. And it's weird because it did work originally. Like, obviously I got the base game, I got, I have all the expansion packs, I have a couple game packs, and it just, I don't know, it suddenly doesn't work no matter what information I put in. It's super frustrating because I was going to buy the kid stuff pack for this build, but I was not able to. So back to the build. Right now we are in the emergency room. I'm making little sort of, I don't know what you're going to call them, like, they're not rooms, but little nooks with curtains. That's how emergency rooms are kind of set up in America, because they're very high volume, so, they're trying to fit as many people as they can comfortably, but it's not like, real hospital rooms. It's just sort of like little cubbies for people who are coming in, usually very short term. And upstairs I am going to make patient rooms for patients who I imagine have been in the hospital longer and would, be given an actual room. But since I'm imagining that this is the ER, it would be more emergency cases. Maybe your sim needs an appendix out or something. So yeah, I'm using lots of bright colors, lots of the wall decals, super kid friendly. This is where my inspiration from a real life hospital comes in. The hospital that I'm referring to is in Massachusetts. That's where I'm from, and we have some really beautiful hospitals, and our healthcare is phenomenal. I'm very lucky to live where I live, but yeah, so you'll get to see sort of some of that in this build. Right now I'm putting some, bringing the outside inside into this build. I thought the tree with the lights looked really pretty, so I decided to put that in this room. In this room I'm actually making a cafe, because the hospital that I volunteer at has a really pretty cafe in the middle. And since when you play the Get to Work expansion, like some of the tasks you'll have are like, make a cup of coffee. I thought it would be really useful, not only just for, aesthetically for the builds, but also for gameplay, to have a little cafeteria. I was going to make it like a legit cafe and put like, the little like waitress stand, and like have it be like a full-fledged place where you could sit and eat and order, but then I was like, you know what, that's not very hospital-y, and I didn't really have space for that, so I decided to make it more cafeteria style, which is more like the way the hospital that I am basing this off of is built. So lots of clutter. On the other side of this cafe or cafeteria, however you want to call it, I do add, coffee makers and ice cream machine. So there are things your sim can actually use. It's not just all clutter. But on that side, I just thought that those items looked really good. And then on the side we're facing right now, I'm going to put vending machines and fridges and stuff. So the room will be functional. It won't be all just decoration. Your Sims will be able to eat here. Yeah, and I did manage to be able to fit some tables and chairs, so there will be a seating area, but I think that we end up only being able to fit like 3 small tables, but I mean, that's plenty, considering, you know, you're only going to work with your one sim, and I haven't played in this hospital yet, so I'm curious, I guess, to see if like other sims that are patients will go in here and eat, or other doctors, or if it'll just be like your sim because you're in control of them, obviously. Like, I'm kind of curious to see how this build will work during gameplay. And I did look up the list of necessary items that have to be in hospital, so this should function, you know, as normal in your game. You'll be able to get promoted. I have all the right machines and stuff. And if anyone's wondering, you know, how you make a hospital, it's pretty simple. You just, obviously you get your sim into the medical career, and then when you go to work with them, you're going to use a cheat. It's bb.enable free build, and that will sort of turn build mode on, and then you can just edit the hospital any way you like. I decided to just bulldoze the entire lot, which I know some people, you know, don't recommend, because then you have to really pay attention to make sure you have all the necessary objects. But there are plenty of lists online that sort of, you know, there are plenty of lists online that will tell you what objects you need so you don't get confused. I thought it was more confusing to sort of pull out all the options and have them laying in the objects and have them laying in the grass, and then have to put them back in. So I was just like, you know what, no, I have OCD. I just need to clear everything. So there are a couple ways you can do it. And then obviously I'm using a lot of the move objects cheat because I really like to layer objects for decorative purposes. Right now we're doing the bathroom. The room was a little bit of a weird shape. It was like a long rectangle, so it was kind of hard to work with. I decided to make it a gender-neutral bathroom. You know, since on Sims you can customize gender now, and Sims can have sort of, what's the word? Gender isn't so black and white. It's more of a spectrum. So the bathroom is gender-neutral. There are no doors that block anyone of a certain gender. One of the stalls is going to be for toddlers. I'm not sure if the toddlers can go to the hospital, but I figured in the event that they can, and because this is a children's hospital build, that I'd put a stall with a potty in it, I guess, if you are interested in that. I'm not sure if they can get sick. I don't really know, so we'll have to just see on that. I haven't really played too much with the toddlers. When we first got the pack, I was like obsessed with it, but they're a lot of work during gameplay. I am like the worst with toddlers and kids, and like getting the kids to do their homework and stuff. I just kind of forget about them. Like I pay so much attention to the basic needs. Like I make sure they're not hungry or tired, but then I'm like, oh no, they're failing school, or like the toddler is going to grow up tomorrow and he's never been taught to walk or talk. I don't know. I feel like I get caught up in other aspects of the gameplay. And the bathroom's almost done, and I think I'm going to end the clip here, at least for part 1, because I don't want it to be too long. So let me know what you guys think, and part 2 should be up soon. Bye!